What I think I'm here to do is maybe describe a relatively new program here locally here at the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, and with an eye towards how might this represent a model or a template that could be applied to other geographies, other industry sectors, IT, telecommunications, other realms. But really start off a bit, because I'm not sure to what extent any of you know about what the Biotech Center in general is all about. So we are a private not-for-profit that was established, well, it's our 25th anniversary this year. We are funded by your taxpayer dollars, and with an overt mission of economic development. So our mandate is create jobs in biotechnology in North Carolina. We are, as you might guess, we represent quite a diverse array of constituents. So K through 12 educators, community college workforce training people, academic researchers, companies, policymakers, legislators. Nowhere is that more evident than the composition of our board, which is about half the size of our whole staff, because you have to have somebody from all these walks. We have a staff of just north of 70 people, most of whom around the corner here in the park. 10, however, located in 5 different satellite offices across the state. So the mandate, even though we might think of RTP broadly, the triangle broadly, as being kind of the hub of biotechnology in the state, really our mandate is statewide, and how do we help each region of the state identify its core competencies, its sweet spots, and also help them gain from the economic benefits of this industry in the state. Let me proceed and now talk, let me preface this by saying, the center for years has been built on 3 different core programs. We've actually done a few more programs in the last few years, but those core programs being the K through 12 and community college education efforts, funding of academic research through grants that might help a researcher in a university develop data to become more competitive for, let's say, federal grants, and faculty recruitment in those efforts. Oliver Smithies, the recent Nobel laureate, being kind of our poster child for the faculty recruitment program, as you might guess. And then I represent our business group, our business and technology development group. And what our group is primarily known for out in the community is a series of funding programs. A loans program. These are low-interest, unsecured loans available to early-stage life sciences companies established or growing within the state. And these are means by which we can put a little bit of money in early to support sort of inception and growth stage business activities or continued technology development. And as you might guess, if you look kind of at the demographic of the community, quite a few of those early stage startup life sciences companies were born out of the universities. These are university startups. Probably 60% or so now of the companies that we've funded came from one of the area universities, or one of them across the state, of course. And then, as you might guess, we've enjoyed a strong relationship with the technology transfer offices within those universities. I guess maybe I shouldn't presume to know that everyone knows what tech transfer is in the university setting, so let me take just a minute to cover that ground. Back in the early to mid-1980s, Congress enacted legislation, the BATON Act, that gave universities the rights of ownership to technologies that were developed by their faculty with support from federal grants programs. Previous to that, university inventions were regarded as being out there in the public good, and any third-party commercial interest could come in, swoop in, grab the technology with no defined gain to coming back to the university. That changed in the 1980s with this, and with that, it was established that universities had the rights of ownership for these inventions. Notice that that's not the commercialization interest, and it's not the inventor. It's typically the university itself. And it has the right to license that invention to whatever commercial party it deems and under whatever terms it negotiates. So that created this whole kind of sub-sector called technology transfer, at least at the university and the not-for-profit research institute sort of level. And with that, they have become a primary part of our community as we've tried to support the creation of university startup companies and the nurturing of those. So we've long enjoyed good relationships with those offices. And what they were telling us a couple years ago was, you know, there are actually far more technologies that we believe support the creation of startup companies by whatever metric you apply to that. But you know, either because our staff is too limited, they have such a huge workload that they can't be writing the business plan for everything, they can't pull together a management team, they can't go out and try to find funding to get each of these off the ground, or they simply didn't have experience in a particular industry sector to know how to go about doing that, that the universities were finding themselves licensing these out maybe at a discount to some company out in the industry, or these were just dying on the vine. They were left dormant in the lab of the inventor and never pursued commercially. And they had shared that with us, and this actually was remarkable how frequently we heard this from the different universities, along with, can you help? That, in a sense, was the genesis of the BATON program that I'm going to talk about. BATON is an acronym. You see it spelled out there, Business Acceleration and Technology Out-Licensing Network. And which one of these do I push? The right. Hey, looky there. Okay. First of all, my feelings are hurt. I think it's my breath or something. No one's over here. BATON, in effect, is an infrastructure. And it's an infrastructure that reflects our desire to support the inception and growth of real companies, not academic exercises, but real companies, and to do so by leveraging the strength of this very rich infrastructure that biotech, that IT, that a number of entrepreneurial, knowledge-driven industries locally enjoy. So it's the lawyers, it's the regulatory people, it's the IP folks, the investors. A lot of that community is kind of shared. So I think that a number of you from different sectors probably are aware of the wealth of resources available there. How do we deploy that community in service to each of these companies so that we really get some direction? Focus, and we'll talk about focus in a few minutes. Focus is such a challenge for these. A technology that has so many commercial opportunities. How do you hone in on one, and for what reasons, and so forth? But BATON, in effect, is a clustering of these different professionals in service to the creation and nurturing of life sciences startup companies coming out of either the universities or the not-for-profit research institutes. And like much of what the BioTech Center does, very few of our funding programs, our service programs, really work well in a vacuum. They are seed an effort early and leverage that alongside other investments, other contributions, other resources around those to try to make something happen. And in that sense, BATON is very much a partnership, including I don't know if this will go all the way over there. Yeah, look there. Not only ourselves, but the entrepreneurial community, the service provider community, the faculty inventors, and then the technology transfer offices that I mentioned earlier.